Welcome to Code Doge channel where we cover all things tech. In this case, if you're here today, it's because you want to know how to use output variables inside Azure Devops pipelines. So just to make sure there's no confusion as to what we're talking about, here we have the GitHub page from Microsoft itself talking about output variables. So output variables, long story short, is variables that you're creating throughout the pipeline, and then you're also able to utilize that variable in some way or form. So for example, I have this one over here on a release pipeline. I have a script that's going to be setting an output variable, and then another script that's going to be displaying it. In this case, it's going to be these two values that is passing as a parameter. Another example that I might have is one for YAML over here, in which we're creating an output variable here. We're going to display it. We're going to pass one through via this parameter to a script, and then the script is going to set a new variable and create a new output variable based on that. And then finally, in this YAML, we're in inline for PowerShell, we're going to display that new variable. So if it doesn't make any sense, just hang on. Otherwise, you'll see how it all comes together. And here's a completed run of that YAML build. As you can see, we have set message output variable. We're reading the message. In this case, we passed in hello. We're passing the variable into a script that's going, and it says, the script itself says that it's going to create a new variable called newString, whose value should be hello world. And then there's another print message that's saying hello world. This is from the file execution because it is a script. And last but not least, in inline, we're going to display the value of that new variable that we created over here called newString. And in that case, newString's value is hello world, just like how we were expecting it to be over here. In case you're new to the channel or if you've forgotten, I always provide GitHub links as well as important links and most importantly timestamps inside the video description. So please do expand that and take a look to see how you can get the most out of this video for yourself. So now that we have a rough overview of what I'm talking about when I say output variables, I do want to state that you can use output variables in both build and release pipelines. And as far as build pipelines go, it's compatible with both YAML and Classic builds. So first we'll start with an example of a Classic build. And we'll go over here to pipelines. We'll do a Classic editor. Bottom over here. We can just point to anything here. In this case for me, it doesn't matter, because I'm just going to go over here and add some PowerShell tasks over here, right? So we'll just call this set display. And let's just swap both of these so that they have inline in case that was too quick. New pipeline, PowerShell tasks, just rename these to set as well as change the type to inline. So in this very first one, what we're going to type over here is write host, double quotation, 2 pound signs or hashtags for you youngins, and then we're just going to type task dot set variable equal, and then the name of the variable. So this is the name of var variable in this case, and right after we're going to close the square bracket, and then we're going to give the value of that variable. In this case, it's going to be code, right? And then for display, we're going to get edit over here. And all you have to do really is write host and then display the name of the variable. In this case, we called it name of variable, right? So let's go over here like this, and we're good to go. So you can just save. You can save and queue. You can add a comment. Either way, we're good to queue it. All right, so let's queue it. We'll just go with the defaults. We'll inspect it. Okay, so there we go. So here we should be setting the variable, creating the variable, and then setting it by giving a value. And here we should just display it. I think it goes really fast, but you can see it. Sure enough, here there's no output because we were just creating that output variable. And then over here, we're able to display, essentially use that variable. So one thing I should have prefaced in case you're totally new to it, I mean, you shouldn't be, but in case you are, um, if you were wondering why that might be 100% working, it's because when you create a variable over here, for example, any one of these, say, just some variable, whatever like that, the way that you would actually use this is that over here, you would write like this. That's how you utilize a variable throughout the pipeline. So that being said, we know for a fact that it worked because over here is the first time we create this variable. As far as this variables tab as well as variable groups go, there's nothing associated. So 100%, it's working. So next we're going to tackle how to use output variables in a YAML build. And in this example, we're also going to cover how to utilize a mix and match, essentially doing it inline like we just did for the sample projects one, um, as well as doing it through file execution. So again, I think the best way to do this is just examine this YAML pipeline that we have set up here that I showed at the start. As you can see over here, this starts with inline over here in which we create a variable called message. Next, we're using inline again, and we're just going to display it just like we did with the classic build. Next, we're getting a little bit more fancy by having a PowerShell script called hello world.ps1, and as an argument, we're going to pass this message variable that we created from this first block of PowerShell. And last but not least, inside of this script, we're going to take that, append something to it, and create a new variable using the same script right here, or script block, or command rather. And we're going to create a new variable inside that script called newString. And over here, as you can see it, we're going to be consuming it and displaying it. All right, so before we run that YAML pipeline, let's just take a look at the PowerShell script that we're going to be using. This case is called hello world.ps1. We see that the first part parameter and second part parameter, we're setting this by default. First part is a message that we're going to send. These two lines are just outputting that where we're running, what we're going to expect to see, where we're going to run it from. In this case, the file execution, this PowerShell. And line 7 is the most important one, where we actually create the new string variable, output variable, and its value is whatever we sent through from the pipeline, which is the first part, and the second part, which is something that's declared inside of this script itself. And in case you're wondering, all of these files are inside the video description, so please go ahead and look at it, download it if you want, so you can use it for yourself. So I'm not going to run that right now because I already gave you a quick overview at the start of this video. But in case you need a refresher, yes, we're setting it here via the inline. We are displaying it via inline. We're passing message, which in this case is hello, to the hello world.ps1. And it's running the output messages that we expected it to. Last but not least, through inline, it's showing a new value, which is new string. So in this case, we see hello world because as we saw from this script, second part is just world, and we appended it in this way. So now that we went over how we can use output variables with both YAML and Classic builds, as well as inline and file execution, let's hop on over to releases. So in this case, release at this time as of August 2021, very similar to just Classic builds. So if we click on this release and we click on the tasks, we have these two scripts that are being used. Set output variables.ps1 and display output variables.ps1. And here we have two parameters that we're sending. These two are actually created inside this script. So just like before we actually execute that release pipeline, let's quickly take a look at these PowerShell scripts. So first, we're running set output variables.ps1, and again, these video files or the files shown in this video are in the video description, so go ahead and click it so you can use it and test it for yourself. Anyways, that being said, we see that we're creating two variables. Now, the key difference here is that one is a secret. I'm sorry, one is not a secret, and it says you should see me. And the other one is a secret, and this is the syntax to declare that it is a secret. It's as simple as just having a semicolon and then is secret equal true, right? So the second script that we're going to use, so as you can see, this is set output variables, set output variables. So the second one that we're going to use on the display is display output variables, right over here. Here we're taking both of those parameters, and we obviously sent them through, and we're just going to display it. So we should see what it looks like when we have the regular argument or non-secret, as well as how a secret argument, or not argument, a secret variable might look like. And obviously you can use these as inline as well. You can copy and paste this and use it in inline as well, or any combination, since we already covered that you can do that with builds. Same concept. Okay, to save you some time, we already have this ran, so let's just take a quick look at over here. Set, there's nothing to display, so it doesn't display anything inside the set. But on the display, you see that we have regular argument, and you should see me, and then secret argument is indeed a secret. Alright, so that pretty much sums it up for this video. Hopefully it helped you understand not only what output variables are inside the Azure DevOps pipeline, but also how to use them. That being said, if you were coming and expecting to see the follow-up for how to create custom extension tasks using PowerShell, that's going to come up a little bit later. If you're watching this video way into the future, I do have a video series that's covering how to create custom custom build and release tasks inside Azure DevOps. The first 3 parts is just showing you how you can install all the dependencies required, as well as the second part, which will show you how to actually create the tasks themselves using Node.js and TypeScript. And then the third part is showing you how to use Mocha to test the unit testing. And the fourth part is going to be how to do the whole first 3 parts, but using PowerShell. So the links to those videos will also be in the description in case you're interested. Otherwise, thanks for watching, for getting this far into the video. And if it was helpful and you like this content, please support me by liking and subscribing. And feel free to leave a comment on what kind of topics you want to see regarding Azure or Azure DevOps next. Before I go, I thought I'd change up my outro video for once, which is a clip I just captured in my recent trip to the Bahamas. So hopefully it's soothing, and thanks for watching.